All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for taking advantage of these comfortable seats, which I'm sure had absolutely nothing to do with you sitting here and watching this fascinating dialogue
You
with
guys are
Mike.
definitely here for us, not for the chairs.
So, real quick introductions. My name's David Rosen. I head up our C Media Cloud product within Sony, which is all about media management and collaboration and helping people get things done natively in the cloud. I'd like to introduce Mike Gio. He's got a storied background, starting as in post as a field producer for a long time, working for some different unscripted companies. We're not going to say how long ago that was. You know, that joke doesn't really play because he's like 12 years old, but whatever.
It was a while ago.
But he ended up at BET News for a while, and then he joined Factual Studios at A+E in 2019.
2019, yeah. It was right before COVID.
Yeah, perfect timing, which drove a lot of some of the technology decisions that you ended up making, right?
It drove a lot of the entire development of the studio. And we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, it was an interesting time to work in television, just like right now is.
Yeah, but let me put the capstone on your bio, because the guy's executive producer, and he has been head of post over at A+E Factual Studios for some time now. So really fantastic to have you here to speak from such a place of experience and understanding and really share a lot of the knowledge that you've gained over the years.
So glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So why don't we tell this illustrious crowd a little bit about some of the content that you're making, and it's kind of under your purview, and more what A&E is doing, and better yet, maybe you brought something that we can see.
I mean, that we can just, rather than tell them about it, we can show them. We got a great tape for you of some of the really cool projects we've already made, some stuff we've got in the works, so let's check it out.
Nonfiction storytelling is the best storytelling. Well, because it ends up being just entertaining as hell.
Those who dare to dream big can achieve the impossible.
Mind-blowing. You just don't know what's gonna turn into gold.
Keep those cameras rolling.
Seeing is believing.
Let's go!
We don't just tell stories, we put our own spin on it.
All right, that is a fantastic overview of just to give a highlight of the variety of content that you guys produce.
Yeah, there's no one genre that we're in. We're in every single genre you can think of, from sports shoulder programming to reality to lifestyle to true crime to everywhere in between. There's no one thing that we do. We do a lot of things well, but no one thing in particular.
And the nice thing about that is, like, regardless of the show, the workflows are exactly the same and stamped out. It's just super easy, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just one secret recipe. That's what we do for everything. Now, if we tried to have one workflow for all of our shows, I would have a mutiny on my hands in minutes, and they'd be right, because the needs of a run and gun reality show shooting in the middle of nowhere in Louisiana, of course, are going to be completely different than what a History Channel show with sit-down interviews, sitting comfortably in air conditioning in New York is going to need. So what we try and do, I guess the only secret sauce we have, is what I call a Christmas tree engineering design model. So we have this kind of core spine of tools, right, that work for everybody, that are super versatile, that everyone's going to end up using in some fashion or another. And then off of that, everyone can kind of hang their own little ornaments on their own little branch, right? If you have a certain workflow you want to use, you want to edit in Premiere or not in Avid, if any little weird thing you want to do on top of that, you can. So that in that way, we've got consistency in kind of our back-end tools and a lot of our workflows, but our producers, our editors, all of our creatives don't feel constrained. They feel like they can really do what they want. They can organize their project their way. It can be custom to them. And I think that's the secret. But yeah, every day is an adventure. It's certainly not boring.
Yeah, I think that speaks to, your position is one. I know you wear a ton of hats, but one of the things that I think is one of your larger responsibilities is, how do I put tools in people's hands that are going to let them make the best content that they can make as quickly and easily as possible? And I'd like you to speak to the fact of, is this something you can just dictate and you can say, you're going to use this tool?
Yes and no. I think what we try and do is find things that people want to use. Like where we put a tool in front of somebody and it is a little bit of that dictatorship, but like the second they start playing with it, they're like, oh my God, where has this been all my life? Like that's the eureka moment we look for when we roll anything out. And we want it to be intuitive for people. Like if we put something in front of people and they keep coming back like, how do I use this? What the heck is this? We've done something wrong or we picked the wrong tool. We've made a wrong turn somewhere. So we try and pick things that are incredibly versatile, but also very, very user friendly. UX is what I ask any vendor about. Like, that's our big thing. Because if people don't want to use it, if it's not easy to use, they're not going to use it. No matter how hard you dictate to them that they have to, they're their own people and they're going to do their own thing.
So I have to use this as an opportunity to ask you this really pointed question that is not self-interested in the slightest, but would you say that usability was one of the primary things that you found about Sony's C Media Cloud?
It was a massive thing. So I'll tell you the story of how I came to know C was when I was still at CBS News and BET. And we were doing, I forget, it was like the midterm elections. It was some crazy thing where we had to get stuff from every bureau everywhere. I'm like, this is going to be a logistical nightmare. And they're like, oh no, it's easy. Just go and C. So then they connected me to C and all the bureaus, everything is out there. Everything is organized. It's super easy to ship it anywhere you need to go. And I went to my boss. I was like, where have you been keeping this, dude? Like, what? Like, come on. This is amazing. So when I came over to A&E, we were having a lot of the same problems with connectivity, especially since we had gone remote during COVID. Really keeping everybody on the same page is a huge challenge. So instantly, the tool that we had was not cutting the mustard. And I was like, we got to take a look at C. And the rest is history. We've been hanging out with you guys for years now.
And it has been a good collaboration. I mean, you guys have pushed us in a lot of good directions. I know, there's a couple of things you're probably...
It's a very nice way of saying that.
And I said pushed. I could have said gently encouraged. But
yeah,
you guys have been a fantastic partner in that sense and helping us to, better understand exactly what people on the ground are needing to do with the tools. And hopefully we've incorporated a lot of that feedback. So, go ahead.
I mean, that's the cool thing about working with you guys in general. I think you think when you go to work with a big company like Sony, like you're not going to get the kind of personalized service maybe you get with a smaller vendor. And our experience has been the exact opposite. It's been like dealing with a small business. You guys are so responsive. Features get rolled out so quickly. Like it's been an amazing collaboration. So I'm glad that we're continuing it.
I love you too, man. I love you too. So tell us a couple of features. Listen, you use C in a pretty specific way. You certainly don't use the full breadth of everything that's there. You have pretty specific requirements and needs that I think stemmed out of a lot of it stemmed out of COVID originally, and you just saw the benefit of moving forward. But what would you say is the thing that you lean on the most when it comes to C Media Cloud?
I mean, we use C for review and approve primarily. That's our big use case for it, and it's amazing for that. I mean, you can draw on things. You can time code comment. We have a producer of our show, The Unbelievable. He loves to draw on things. It's his favorite thing ever. I don't know what he'd do without that feature. So it's a simple thing, but it's incredibly powerful for us, and it's connected our studio in so many ways, both for getting that review and approval, but also just as a repository for things. So if you're a producer who's maybe in the field or not in Avid, not in an NLE, you can still interact with the content. You can see all the dailies. You can see all the archive we're bringing in. It all runs through C so that people can mess with it however they need to mess with it. I think the most impactful tool we have in C is a really silly one. It seems really simple, but file request. Like the ability to send someone a link and it just drops right into a folder. So we make a show called The Proof Is Out There. And this was a COVID show. It was born out of a kind of a mandate of make us a COVID show that doesn't look like a COVID show. So how do you do that? User-generated content. It's a show about people, they've seen Bigfoot or they've seen UFOs or ghosts or whatever, and it's on their phone, it's on their camcorder from 1999, wherever it is, and we're having our experts analyze that and see, is it legit or not? So originally when we started the show, they were obviously getting that things from normal people, especially people who think they've seen Bigfoot, is a problem. It was email and FTPs and Google Drive and Box and Drop. It was this logistical polyglot nightmare of tools. And things are getting lost, and it was just a huge pain. So when we brought C on, we went to their archive team. We said, hey, try this file request thing, and just let us know how it works for you. And overnight, that problem just went away. It just worked for everyone. If they're uploading from their phone, from a computer, from any kind of device, I think we maybe, 1 in 20 has an issue with the file request versus the nightmare we were in before. And then we've taken that out to our true crime, our researchers who spent a long time researching stories, getting things from police departments and courts and governments and all this stuff. All their FOIA material can go in there, producers and everyone can interact with it. The network can kind of take a look at it before they're going to green light a story. Maybe they can see what the supporting materials are going to be. So it's come in handy for us in a lot of ways.
That's fantastic. And yeah, I think that's another one of those features that came out of, direct experience from folks, which is, hey, as good as you think your user interface is, when people are busy and they're on set or they're somewhere else, they don't have time to figure it out. Like, if you can just give them a link, they click on the link and drop their files or upload from their phone, that's a game changer, and I think we learned that the hard way.
Drag and drop is the key. Like, it can't be complicated. You can't need to log in 5 times to something. Like, it's just got to be right there for them, or like we said, they'll just breeze right past it and not do it.
Okay, so everybody here, I think the title of this was, A&E's Secret to Speed or something like that. So, that's what they want to hear about. You are a pretty on the cutting edge of technology type of guy. You're always looking for what's next, and I'd love to hear if you have any measurable achievements or outcomes after modifying your workflow to leverage C going forward. Anything measurable that you can speak about?
I mean, I think one thing to keep in mind is the beauty of C for me is you don't need to modify your workflow for it. It's such a robust tool, and there's so much in it that it really is just going to slot in wherever you need it. And it's going to work pretty much out of the box. Like, we did very little customization when we brought it. I think we had it up and running in like 2 weeks, and part of that was because I think I was on vacation. So it's a very, very easy to use tool. As far as measurable outcomes and results, things are easier. And like I said, the tool we had before didn't work. You send the link to something and it's supposed to play the video and it doesn't play the video. So clearly we needed a change.
The bar was low from that.
It was a very low bar. But I mean, since it's seeing how people have interacted with it, and I think the real key again is they want to use it more. Like, when we started doing file requests with the archival team on Proof, they're like, can we put all the archive in here? Like, yeah, of course you can. Like, can we put all of this in here? Like, yes, of course, use it more. And that's the big thing for me. And that's as a technologist, when you're picking that tool, that's the sign that you picked the right thing. Like, everybody wants to use it, everybody likes it, and they want to use it in ways that you hadn't even thought of yet. So I think that's the power of C. It can do so much that people just keep finding new ways to use it. And we are still finding new ways to use it. We ring your bell, once every few months with some new thing we want to try.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, that a lot of that's coming from listening to folks like yourselves about, what's next, what's new. And, maybe interesting time to pivot away from, how C has helped you in the past, but looking forward, what are some of the things and the technologies that you think are going to be game-changing in post-production going forward? And I can think of a couple of letters that may come up into this conversation, but I'll let you go and answer.
Yeah. This is where we make the audience hate us, right? This is where we talk about AI. Obviously AI is going to be a transformative thing for all of our society, right? It's not just here in media and entertainment. It's going to be in everything that we do. I think the one thing that kind of keeps me up at night a bit about it, and I imagine you too, and we've talked about this, is there's no rules. There's no laws. There's no anything. So the ethics of this completely paradigm-changing technology, that all comes down to us and how we use it. I think a reason I'm grateful to be at A&E is from the top down, from our CEO. We're very, very committed to that moral part of it. And we're committed to a mission that, this is not a workforce replacement. That's not what we're looking at it for. It's a workforce multiplier. We've got these amazing people who are giving us 150% every day. How do we get to 200% without adding hours to their day, without adding frustration to their life, without making them hate me more than they already do? So that's really the mission statement. But, in particular, technologies, generative AI is a huge thing, making something out of nothing, text to image, text to video. You'll see on our show Holy Marvels, which comes out a week from today, actually. Check your local listings for details on the History Channel. And we're just starting to use generative AI for that. And it's a show all about biblical stories and stories from religion, things where there's no photographic record for this stuff, right? There's Renaissance oil paintings and children's Bible illustrations. And that's not the most compelling television in the world. So what we got to this season was we got the green light, hey, let's use some generative AI. Let's take these stories that maybe were too expensive or just not feasible, that would have ended up on a scrap heap and never on television, and bring them to life with this. And there's some really, really cool results that you're going to see in this show. But it's a creative conversation, right? There are shows on the History Channel especially, like, where we'll use a bunch of AI like this, where we're doing the Leviathan or the Loch Ness Monster, and like, yeah, you're going to see a lot of AI in that. And there are other things where you won't see us use AI at all because it's not good for the integrity of the show. It doesn't suit us creatively. We take that journalistic responsibility seriously.
And I think it's important to point out, and I only know this because you mentioned it to me. Some of the shows that you work on maybe don't have the budget to have creative artists go through and create 3, 4, 5 different renditions of something. So it's not that you're replacing people, but it's that you're getting higher quality outcomes on certain shows that you otherwise would not have been able to do.
Yeah, telling stories, again, that we wouldn't have been able to tell. Like, we did this whole thing on mythical monsters where we used a lot of generative AI this season. And, like, that story last year was too expensive. Can't do it. It would have just been on the cutting room floor, never would have gone to production with it. Now, with this technology, we can do it. Because we all know budgets aren't getting bigger. There's a lot of downward force. Like, we're not going to get any more money. So how do we put more production value on screen? How do we keep an audience interested? How do we keep telling new stories, even though there's no archive, there's no video, there's nothing to tell them with?
Yeah. So now tying that back into C, because now everybody, I can see them, they're like raising their hands like, well, what's the AI capabilities in C? We're getting to that now. We're getting to that now. Yeah, I see you. So we've got AI built into C and have for a number of years. It's at today's standard, I'm going to say it's pretty basic. I can do object recognition. I can identify celebrities. I can find text in the images and videos, etc. Very cool. Makes it instantly searchable. It's great. Where I think we're going to now is this idea of having awareness of video, of the context of a video, like what's happening in the video. Not just that there are things in it, but what's actually happening. There's a video of Mike Gio and David Rosen on the stage talking about things, and Mike looks distracted and David looks really excited. Being able to search for that and say, show me a video where that's happening is pretty incredible, right? You can't do that with your traditional search capabilities.
Yeah, and there's a limiting factor that I didn't realize until we started talking about this. Like, you think about tagging, right? Right now, the way you log footage. So let's say you've got a really nice nature shot, a drone shot of a forest. Now, if someone's tagging that and they just put in trees and don't put in forest, right now, because of your lexical search, when you search forest, that video is not coming up. So when you switch these more semantic models, like, you can search for a vibe, you can search for anything that you want, and you're not limited by somebody only putting in a small set of words. So it just unlocks all of your content. Things that may not have come up in an old school search will come up new. Also, you sold yourself very short there, by the way. C has had AI in it longer than I think any other product that I've come across. Like, you were talking to us about this years before this big AI boom happened. So first to market, always.
There you go. There you go. But I think where we want to go next is definitely to start incorporating some of the type of semantic searching that you're referring to. I think so. Stay tuned as that starts to roll out for C, because I think it's going to really help people with discovery of video, finding the right moments in video, which again is just going to make the creative process that much easier for people.
Yeah, and that's the key with any AI. I think, like, we took a relatively simplistic engineering approach to looking for AI tools, which was, we asked everybody what they hated doing. What our guy Matt in our technology department calls zero-level tasks, the things that you don't spend any brain power doing: data entry, tagging, transcribing, these tasks that we all remember doing when we first started out, that drove us nuts. We were like, when do I get to learn how to make TV? When do I actually get to do this job? So those are the things that we've really been attacking with AI, and it's been incredibly powerful in terms of time saving already. And I think you're going to see our creatives getting to create more, which is exactly our goal. We don't pay them to be the best organizers and taggers of things. We pay them to be brilliant creative minds, and we want them using those creative minds 100% of their day instead of 80% of their day.
All right, with that, I'm getting the countdown over there, and it looks like we are out of time. But just thank you very much, Mike. It's always a pleasure talking with you and sharing your knowledge with folks here. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it, guys.